الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين باعث الأنبياء والمرسلين ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء وسيد المرسلين حبيب إله العالمين المصطفى أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المنتجبين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين إلى قيام يوم الدين. أما بعد، فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى في كتابه المجيد وقرآنه الحميد وقوله الحق: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم، بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم: ولله على الناس حج البيت من استطاع إليه سبيلا وما كفر فإن الله غني عن العالمين. صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Inshallah, if Allah gives us tawfiq tonight, we will briefly discuss about some of the reasons for the creation of the human being. This is a question that many people ask: why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala create us? There are several reasons mentioned in the Holy Quran and some in the Ahadith. For the sake of brevity, we will mention inshallah 4, although there are more. And then we will relate how the obligation of Hajj connects to these reasons, helping us realize, inshallah, how Hajj fulfills and combines the purpose of our creation. One of the reasons mentioned in the Quran for the creation of the human being is a test. In Surah Al-Mulk, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, تبارك الذي بيده الملك وهو على كل شيء قدير الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا. One of the reasons Allah created you, He created death and life to test you. يعني in this dunya, الدنيا دار بلاء. بلاء يعني امتحان, test. Some people seek rest and comfort in this dunya, but it is not found because it is not made for resting and comfort. It is a place of work, effort. ليس للإنسان إلا ما سعى. The human being will not get but what he strives for. يا أيها الإنسان, in another ayah, إنك كادح إلى ربك كدحا فملاقيه. Oh human being, you're working hard towards your Lord, and then you will see the results, inshallah. Yani this dunya is a place of testing, working, hard effort. It's not a place of resting and comfort. Hajj contains a lot of rituals, especially for the people who are not used to the Hajj. These rituals sometimes become challenging. In addition, the rituals of the Hajj are a test of our faith. For example, a lot of the ahkam of Hajj are called ahkamun ta'abbudiyya. What does ahkam ta'abbudiyya mean? It means that we do them because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said do it this way. Because Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa said do it this way. خلاص. For example, why do we do tawaf around the Kaaba 7 times? This is how Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa did it. This is how we do it. Someone says, I would like to go 8 times. We say, you can't. This will make your tawaf batil. He says, I'm doing more. It's not up to you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned it this way. Khalas. It's done. When it's stoning, it is stoning. You have to use 7 pebbles. Now they say Ramyul Jamarat. Some people they say stoning of the shaitan. Yani shaitan is right there in front of you. No, you'll see now today you'll see a wall. You'll see a wall today. Before it used to be a pillar. I remember the days when it used to be a pillar. We used to go to Hajj and you have people on both sides of the pillars throwing. So sometimes the pebbles fly back and forth. So now it's a wall. Now why do we have, this is how the ahkam is. Now there are reasons. There are sometimes يعني the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam mention the reasons. And of course there are reasons because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Hakim. Allah is wise. We may not understand the hikmah, the wisdom behind it. Doesn't mean there is no wisdom behind it. Like for example, they say when Ibrahim wanted to take his son Ismail to slaughter him, Shaitan appeared to the father and said to him, what are you doing? You're going to kill your son because of a dream. So he tried to turn him away from his determination. So he took a pebble and threw at the Shaitan. Shaitan does not give up. He comes back a second time. And a third time, and 7 times. And every time the father, Ibrahim alayhi wa ala nabiyina wa alayhi salam, throws a pebble at the shaitan. Then does he give up? No, he doesn't. He goes then to the son. He tries to convince the son, what are you doing? You're following your father to kill you because of a dream? So the son does the same thing. Ismail ala nabiyina wa alihi wa alayhi salam. Again, 7 times. He doesn't give up. He's very persistent. This is how shaitan is until he deviates the person. He doesn't give up. He's very persistent. Does he give up? No. Then he goes to the wife, the mother, Hajar. And he tells her, how can you let your husband kill your son? Because of a dream. And again, she takes pebbles and she throws at him. 1, he comes back again, twice, 3, 7 times. Until finally Ibrahim alayhi wa ala nabiyina wa alayhi salam fulfills the mission, the obligation, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protects Ismail, as you read in the ayat of the Quran. So this is mentioned in the riwayat, and hence they say it became the sunnah of Ibrahim, became the sunnah. Okay. So that is a reason, but is this the reason, the only reason? We don't know. There could be many other reasons behind this hukum, this wisdom. We may not know, but it is 7 pebbles. Khalas. Someone says, I want to shoot 8. I hate my shaitan. He's really deviated me. He's been a bad shaitan. As if there is a good shaitan. This is a bad shaitan. I'm going to shoot him with, pebbles, whatever. Like one lady, one day she came and she had her shoe. And she is like, you, it's all your fault. Your fault. So someone was curious, why is she throwing shoes at the shaitan and it's all your fault? Can you throw shoes? No, you can't. You have to throw pebbles. So he was curious, interesting. And when you go, inshallah, you'll see how tight, busy it is during Rami al-Jamarat. It's very tight.
MashaAllah, it's really a good exercise. You go and you throw the so this person was throwing and he finds this lady, it's all your fault. He became curious. He said, what did he do to you? What? He said, he made him marry the second wife. This is all his fault. He made my husband marry a second wife. So, can you throw shoes? No, you can't. Pebbles, khalas. Pebbles, and you can. What about a brick? He says, can I throw brick? No, you can't. It's about a relative size, which is about the size of the chickpea. حمصة تقريبا, give or take. These are أحكام تعبدية. So when you do them, you become in submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is a test from Allah. Will you submit to the will of Allah? There are cases, unfortunately, of some people, وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ, who go to Hajj and then return, وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ, and deviate from religion altogether. They say, what is all this nonsense? وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ, nonsense. This is the test from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's a test. Do you submit or do you not submit? Do you go through these challenges of Hajj? For example, when you're in the state of ihram, according to some fuqaha, 25 things become haram for you. Amongst them, you cannot look in the mirror. You cannot look in a mirror. Amongst them, for men, you cannot go in under a shaded area. يعني transportation, for example, from Medina to Mecca has to be done at night. It cannot be in the daytime, according to some fuqaha. And some fuqaha, when it's shaded, يعني in a car, you cannot go in a car or in a bus with a roof. When it's sunny, when it's daytime. Some fuqaha say at night it's permissible. Some fuqaha, even at night, they say it's not permissible. Even at night, you cannot go with a roof, depending on the fuqaha. So, tadleel, for men, not allowed. Zina, makeup, any beautification, haram, la yajuz, not allowed. So a whole bunch of things become forbidden. Perfume is not allowed. You cannot have perfume. Now, when you do Umratut Tamattu', you are in the state of ihram for about maybe 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours. You don't really feel it. When you're in Hajj Tamattu', you're in the state of ihram for about 2-3 days, give or take, depending on how soon a person can finish all the a'mal and so on and so forth. That's when the person feels it. Then we realize our true smell. This is who we are. So when we go in the qabr, this is who we are. A person, sometimes we live in this luxury, we perfume ourselves, all these, for example, perfumes that we use on our body. There you realize who you are. All this is a test from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is the bala. لِنَبْلُوَكُمْ, testing you. That's one reason of the creation. Another reason, a second reason for the creation is an ayah that many of you are familiar with. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. Worshipping. Allah says, I did not create the human and the jinn but to worship me. Al-Hajj is a great worship, is indeed a great worship. The ayah that I just recited from Surah Ali Imran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلِلَّهِ عَلَى النَّاسِ, ayah number 97, حِجُّ الْبَيْتِ مَنِ اسْتَطَاعَ إِلَيْهِ سَبِيلًا. Allah obligates upon people. Now pay attention to this. وَلِلَّهِ عَلَى النَّاسِ, not عَلى الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. So some of the fuqaha, they say this ayah suggests, some of the fuqaha, they have the opinion that all the ahkam of Allah are obligated upon all people, not just upon Muslims. Yani Hajj, everyone has to go to Hajj. Because they are all the creation of Allah. Salat, everyone has to pray salat. Why? This is the ayah they use. وَلِلَّهِ عَلَى النَّاسِ حِجُّ الْبَيْتِ مَنِ اسْتَطَاعَ إِلَيْهِ سَبِيلًا. So there is this opinion among the fuqaha in the Shi'i school of thought. Nonetheless, Hajj is wajib upon the Muslims for sure. There is no question about that. One of the wajibat. What is the condition? مَنِ اسْتَطَاعَ إِلَيْهِ سَبِيلًا. One who has the ability, istita'a. Istita'a, they say health-wise. If you have the health, if you have the financial ability, if you have the means of getting to Hajj. These days, some people, because of all the visa restrictions, all visa requirements, etc., so some people apply. They have the financial ability, they have health, alhamdulillah. They want to go, but they don't get visas, for example. Or they are not given Hajj packages, for example. So all this is part of istita'a. Once you have it all, Hajj is wajib upon you. I have seen people who, mashallah, they're wealthy, who are healthy. I tell them, why don't you go to Hajj? He says, maybe later. Later, why? And he gives excuses. My business, my work, my family, whatever. Allah says in the next part of the ayah, وَمَنْ كَفَرَ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ غَنِيٌّ عَنِ الْعَالَمِينَ. يعني, anyone who has the istita'a, ability to go to Hajj, but does not go to Hajj, chooses not to go, this person is a kafir, وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ. But not kafir in the sense of rejecting Allah. There are several definitions of kufr in the Quran. Several definitions. One of them is al-kufru billah azza wa jal. Those who reject Allah, don't believe in Allah. Today we call them atheists. That's the highest level of kufr, wal-'iyadhu billah. But there is a level of kufr where a person does not perform an obligation. Hajj is wajib. He has the ability, or she has the ability, she has the health, she has all the conditions to go to Hajj, but chooses not to go to Hajj. Now he's doing kufr bil Hajj, wal-'iyadhu billah. A lady does not wear hijab, for example. Sometimes she would say, I know hijab is wajib. Unfortunately, I am not wearing it. I pray to Allah to guide me to wear it, inshallah. That's one. Sometimes you hear people who argue. They say there is no hijab in the Quran. That's kufr, wal-'iyadhu bil hijab. They just done kufr, wal-'iyadhu billah. Someone, you tell them, for example, khums is wajib. He says, no, khums is not wajib. Not anymore. Where is the khums in the Quran? هذا كفر بالخمس والعياذ بالله. So sometimes people reject an obligation. هذا كفر, a level of kufr. And there is a riwayah. Anyone who dies without performing Hajj when he or she had the ability to perform Hajj, then dies not as a Muslim, والعياذ بالله. يهوديا أو نصرانيا. مات يهوديا أو نصرانيا. والعياذ بالله. يعني مو مسلم. والعياذ بالله. So, Hajj is a ibadah, an act of worship, a great act of worship. It fulfills this obligation of worship. Third reason in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions for the creation is rahmah. إِلَّا مَنْ رَحِمَ رَبُّكَ وَلِذَلِكَ خَلَقَهُمْ. Rahmatullahi azza wa jal. Mercy. When you go to Hajj and you perform the obligations of Hajj, the mercy of Allah is showered upon you. Showered. I met a person who was not on the madhab of Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam. This story, he told it me directly. So I'm going to say it, but I will abbreviate it. It's a long story. He was not a follower of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam, and he was one of the ulama of Al-Azhar. He is a graduate from Al-Azhar University. Alim, mashallah, memorizes the whole Quran. He knows many ahadith, read the ahadith of Bukhari and Muslim and so on and so forth. Yani mashallah, alim. But from the other school of thought. He became a follower of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. I asked him how, what happened? He said, we went to Hajj one year. This is before the age of the internet. We went to Hajj. He says, I was sitting in the Masjid al-Haram looking at the Kaaba. Muslims have this hadith narrated, Shia and Sunni, النظر إلى الكعبة عبادة. يعني inshallah when you go to Hajj, sit down, you can just sit down there and look at the Kaaba, ibadah. That's an act of worship. He said, I was looking at the Kaaba, and as I was looking at the Kaaba, act of ibadah, I was saying, Ya Allah, guide me. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. Guide me. I guess this da'wah was accepted. He said, one day I was sitting down, a person came and sat next to me, and he started praying. After a little bit, he turned to me, said, Salamun alaykum. I said, Alaykum as-salam. From his accent, from his salat, I realized he's a Shia. So I told him, he asked me, where are you from? I said, from Egypt. I told him, where are you from? He said, I'm from Iran. He said, you're Shi'i? I said, yes. He said, I immediately told him, Shia, you guys do this. I started with all that we have been brainwashed about the Shia. This man, he said, looked at me and said, his Arabic was very weak. He couldn't speak much Arabic. He said, I don't speak much Arabic. In Arabic, he tried to say whatever words and he said, I am not a alim. If you want, you can come with me. I'll take you to our group. And there are some ulama there. You can discuss with them. He said, let's go. He said, I was 100% sure I am on the haqq. And they are on batil. That's how confident I was. So I said, he took me. We went into a room. There were a whole bunch of mu'ammamin, shuyukh, sada, sitting down there in this group. He said something in Farsi. He spoke in Farsi. Maybe he was introducing me something like this. And then one of those ulama or one of those mu'ammamin turned to me. He said, Salamun alaykum, alaykum as-salam, etc., etc., etc. And he said, I came here to discuss with you. He said, this alim told me we will discuss, but there is a condition. He said, what? He said, first of all, we are in Hajj. We don't have a lot of references. We don't have books here. So, first of all, whatever we discuss, you cannot accuse us of taqiyyah. Yani, we are going to give you the answer. This is the answer. So you will take this at face value. Do you accept? He said, yes, I accept. Second condition, we don't have the references with us. We will tell you the references. So you will accept these references from us because we don't have books. Do you accept? He said, I accept. He said, khalas, then let's start. He said, we stayed there 24 hours non-stop, except salat time. He said, at salat time, we would go pray and come back. He says, that's how heated the discussion was. 24 hours non-stop, he said. Maybe the whole energy just carried through that they did not feel tired. He said, these 24 hours made my head spin to the point where I decided when I go back to Egypt, I will reread our books, because they gave me all the references. This is Sahih al-Bukhari, Sahih Muslim, so-and-so book, etc., etc., etc. But they did not have the books with them. So everything was of whatever they remembered. So I said, okay. He said, I went back to Egypt. I started rereading these books, our books. He said, I realized this is the madhab of the haqq. And I became a follower of Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. From the barakah of the Hajj. This is one aspect of the rahmah in Hajj. One aspect of it. There are so many other aspects. This is one of them. Al-hidayah ila as-sirat al-mustaqim. One aspect of Hajj. This is fulfilled in Hajj. Rahmatullah. The mercy of Allah upon the creation, we can see it in Hajj. That's the third reason. The fourth reason, it is mentioned in the riwayah attributed to Al-Imam Al-Hussein alayhi salam, this narration. It is found in the book Ilal al-Shara'i' by Sheikh Saduq, قدس الله نفسه الزكية. You'll find this riwayah. Al-Imam Al-Hussein alayhi salam one day came out to the people. He said to the people, أيها الناس إن الله خلق الخلق ليعرفوه فإذا عرفوه عبدوه فإذا عبدوه استغنوا بعبادته عن عبادة غيره. People, Allah created the creation so they would recognize Him. If they recognize Him, they will worship Him. If they worship Him, they would not need to worship anything other than Him or anyone other than Him. A man asked the Imam Salamullahi alayh, he said, Ya ibn Rasulullah, and how do we recognize Allah? وَكَيْفَ نَعْرِفُ اللَّهَ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ. If He created us so that we recognize, how do we recognize Him? قال معرفة كل أناس مضمون الرواية بإمام زمانهم. To recognize every era, every people of every era need to recognize the Imam of their time. The recognition of the Imam, this is one of the reasons for the creation. One of the reasons of the creation is to recognize the Imam of the time. And there are riwayat. This riwayah is found in Kitab Kamaluddin wa Itmamun Ni'mah by Sheikh Saduq also, قدس الله نفسه الزكية. This Sheikh Saduq, قدس الله نفسه, he died in the year 381 Hijri, 381. Do you guys know what year we are this year? What is the year? What's the Hijri year this year? 1445, correct. Good job. Well done. 1445. He died more than 1,000 years ago. And his books, mashallah, we still use them. We still benefit. This is the great khair. This is a beautiful thing to leave behind. This is a legacy to leave behind. Ilmun yuntafa'u bih. This is one of those ahadith. So, in another one of his books, Kamaluddin wa Itmamun Ni'mah, he narrates a hadith from one of the deputies of the Imam, Ajjalallah Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif. Imam had 4 deputies. One of them narrates this hadith. He says, by Allah, Wallah, he says, Madmun al-Riwayah. He says, I swear by Allah that he, the Imam Salamullahi alayh, attends every year and he sees the people and recognizes them. And they see him but do not recognize him. So when you go to Hajj, one of the tawfiq is, insha'Allah, you'll get to see the Imam. Even if you don't feel it. You don't feel it. You may not even feel that you've met him. But insha'Allah, the mu'mineen come across him and benefit from this tawfiq of going to Hajj and pledging the allegiance to the Imam Salamullahi alayhi. We read in Dua al-Ahad, وَكْحُ النَّاظِرِ بِنَظْرَةٍ مِنِّي إِلَيْهِ. Beautify. Al-kuhul, the kuhul, the ornament, these days, I don't know what they call it, mascara, whatever it is that they put these days, the new version of it. The kuhul, the stuff that they put on the eye for beautification. Oh Allah, beautify my eyes through looking at him, through seeing. I want to see the Imam Salamullahi alayhi. We read in Dua al-Nudba, Mata tarana wa narak. When will we see you and you see us? So these 4 things are there in Hajj. 4 reasons for the creation. As I mentioned, there are more, but these are 4. And they are fulfilled in Hajj. So Hajj fulfills the reasons of our creation. What are some of the rituals of Hajj? So here, those of you who inshallah will be going to Hajj, it's good to pay attention to this. Briefly, we'll mention them. In Hajj, there are 13 rituals total. 13 rituals that must be fulfilled and completed. Many people, when they go to Hajj, they also go to the city of Medina. It's a good thing to do, to visit Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi, to visit the Imams in Baqi' alayhim as-salam, al-Banin in Baqi' salamullahi alayha. So these are good things to do. There are many areas to visit in the city of Medina. There is a lot of history in the city of Medina. Usually they take you to mountain of Uhud to show you where the battle of Uhud took place. They usually take you to the place where the battle of Al-Ahzab or Al-Khandaq took place. Although unfortunately, this regime in that country has destroyed most of this beautiful artifacts of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. For example, the trenches that were dug by the Muslims, Al-Khandaq, and the Prophet himself participated with them. The Prophet himself also dug the Khandaq with them. They buried them all, they made them into road and said, khalas, this is history. This is some countries, like, in this country, for example, you'll have a building that might be 100 years old. They call it a heritage site. 100 years old. We're talking about 1400 years old. 1400. This is in the UK, they have the house of Shakespeare where he lived. It's a heritage place. People go visit the house of Shakespeare. Okay, he was a poet. People go, they are interested in history. Here we have the house of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. The places where the Prophet, not only its history, it is also related, connected to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. Unfortunately, most of it is buried, it's gone. Unfortunately. Nonetheless, there is a lot of history in Medina. So it's good to go to Medina and visit. Then sometimes what people do is from Medina, they start heading towards Mecca. When that happens, they need to stop at a place called Masjid al-Shajara. Masjid al-Shajara. This is where people have to wear their ihram. Because if I can give just as an example, and this is not, of course, to say this is how it is, as they say in Arabic, al-amthalu tudrab wa la tuqas. Okay? If we say, for example, this is Mecca. Do you guys see this? Okay. This is Mecca. Okay. This would be the haram. The haram is bigger than Mecca. Okay, so the haram is much bigger than Mecca. One cannot enter the haram until he is in the state of ihram. And so for people in Medina, their haram, let's say for example Medina is here, this is the point of their entry, and this is called Masjid al-Shajara. So from here, they cannot cross without being in the state of ihram. So one can wear the ihram. For men, for example, if you've seen them, they wear these two pieces that look like towels. Two garments. And they cannot have stitches. So men cannot wear stitches. Women, they can wear anything they want. This abaya is fine, whatever. But many women choose to wear the white, symbolizing Hajj and the beauty of Hajj. They want to experience the feeling of Hajj. But it's fine, they can wear whatever it is. Men, no, they have to wear this ihram, which cannot be stitched. They cannot wear socks, for example. Men are not allowed to wear socks. In fact, one of the things forbidden for men is to cover the top of their feet. The top of their feet cannot be covered. That's why they usually wear slippers. The slippers that have opening, such that the top of the feet is exposed. Because you cannot wear a shoe, for example, that covers your foot. So when you get to Masjid al-Shajara, when this is the point of entry, ihram, so you can wear the ihram, but there you enter the state of ihram. What does that mean? For example, let's say this is my ihram, for example. I would just take it off a little bit and then put it back on and then make my niyyah. What is the niyyah? Anwi and uhrimu. I become, I make the niyyah to enter the state of ihram. لعمرة التمتع, لحج التمتع. And then it depends. If it's the first time going for Hajj, Hajjatul Islam. And wajib qurbatan ila Allah ta'ala. That's if you're first time. It's wajib. If it's second time, could be mustahab. Qurbatan ila Allah ta'ala. You don't say Hajjatul Islam. You say أحرم إحرام عمرة التمتع لحج التمتع قربة إلى الله تعالى, because it's your second time. It's not your first time. Okay. So some people, mashallah, go to Hajj many times. I remember meeting one of the friends, may Allah bless them, who was a khatib. At that time we were in Hajj together. I asked him, what number is this Hajj for you? He said, this is number 37, mashallah. This was his 37th Hajj, mashallah. May Allah bless him and give him a long life. So, some people go many times. So this is the niyyah. So you take a little bit of the ihram, just, take it off, put it on, and you make the niyyah. Now you have entered the state of ihram. Now those 25 things become haram for you. And they are found in the books of fiqh. Here, it is mustahab, not wajib. Mustahab to do a ghusl before the ihram. But that's mustahabbat, which is good. For the sake of now brevity, we'll just go quickly with the wajibat. Now, I want to clarify something. These days, in Biladul Hijaz, they have made a train that takes you from Medina to Mecca. This train, unfortunately, does not stop in Masjid al-Shajara. It goes straight. So it's a problem. It's a problem for the followers of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. So what's the solution? The solution is this. If they put you on the train, then you have to leave before you go. Let's say they say your train, for example, your train leaves at 5 p.m. For example, 5 p.m. You go to Masjid al-Shajara, you enter the state of ihram, then you come back to the train station. However, pay attention to this, please, brothers and sisters. 5 p.m. may still be daytime. May still be daytime. What did we say about men traveling in daytime in a closed cabin? Not allowed. So Sayyid al-Sistani, hafidhahullah, he has a problem with this ihram. He says, if you are going to enter the state of ihram and you know that you are going to travel in the daytime, that niyyah of ihram is problematic. So what's the solution? Is to change the time of the train. Tell them I want a night train, something at night. And instead of 5 p.m., for example, give me something at 9 p.m., for example, when the sun has set. Then you're good. Then you go to Masjid al-Shajara, you get that state of ihram, you come back, pick up the train, and head to Mecca, because it's night. You're traveling in the night. So then you're in good shape. All good? Did you understand this hukum? This mas'ala is an important mas'ala, because it's a problem these days. Okay. So now you enter the state of ihram and you travel at night. You get to Mecca. So that's the first action that you have just made. How many did I say are wajibat? You guys, Allah yasa'adkum, yani Allah, you're tired. 13, yes. So 1 down, 12 more to go. You just started, mashallah, your journey. Okay. You arrived in Mecca. You need to do tawaf around the Kaaba. That's your second thing. 7 times around the Kaaba. You have to be in wudu when you're doing the tawaf. You have to be in wudu. What happens if someone breaks the wudu in the middle of the tawaf? If it's after the 4th round, yani you do 1, 2, 3, 4, you started your 5th. That's when you break the wudu, then no problem. What you do is you leave the tawaf, get out, go find a place to do wudu, and then come back and continue from the point where you broke the tawaf. Let's say, for example, again, من غير تشبيه يعني. Let's say this is the Kaaba and this is the Masjid of Haram. This is where you broke your wudu. This point right here. Okay. And you're in the sixth round. Let's say, for example, you're in the sixth round. The wudu became batil for whatever reason. Okay, leave, get out, do your wudu, come back. Maybe you might enter from here. You enter from here. Once you get here, you say, now I resume the niyyah of my wudu, of my tawaf. Now I resume the niyyah of tawaf, and then you start continuing. You finish your sixth round, and you do the seventh, and you finish. If you break your wudu before the fourth round, too bad. Go do your wudu, come back, start all over again. You have to start from the beginning. Where does tawaf begin from? Al-Hajar al-Aswad. Again, من غير تشبيه. Let's say this is Al-Hajar al-Aswad. This is where Al-Hajar al-Aswad is. Now, because tawaf is so busy, sometimes you cannot just go straight, you walk here and you go, khalas, this is Hajar al-Aswad, ya Allah, I start my tawaf. It doesn't work that way. You're so busy. So you might need to enter from here. You enter from the side and you continue walking until you get to the Hajar al-Aswad. You can make your niyyah that once I get to the Hajar al-Aswad, I do the niyyah for tawaf. What is the niyyah? I am doing tawaf 7 times around the Kaaba for Umrah al-Tamattu', for Hajj al-Tamattu'. If it's your first time, Hajjatul Islam, wajib qurbatan ila Allah Ta'ala. So you have that niyyah in your brain. This is my niyyah. The minute I get to Hajar al-Aswad, the niyyah starts. You know, it's like as if you hit the play button. Khalas, start the niyyah. All clear? You do tawaf around the Kaaba 7 times. By the time you reach the Hajar al-Aswad, after your 7th tawaf, khalas, now it finishes. So a tawaf begins with Hajar al-Aswad, ends with Hajar al-Aswad. All right. And there are many mustahabbat of the tawaf, we don't have time for them. After you finish the tawaf, you need to, as soon as you can, go behind Maqam Ibrahim and pray 2 rak'at salat al-tawaf. This is your 3rd wajib. Behind Maqam Ibrahim and pray 2 rak'at salat al-tawaf. Now sometimes you cannot pray immediately behind. Let's say this is Maqam Ibrahim. People are still doing tawaf. So you cannot pray immediately behind Maqam Ibrahim. You have to go a bit, no problem. And sometimes you cannot leave and exit the tawaf because it's so busy. It might take you like half an hour to exit the tawaf. Sometimes, yes, it's that busy sometimes. No problem. Just the time it takes you to get to Maqam Ibrahim, behind it and pray. But don't say like, okay, let me go drink some chai, let me go rest a little. No, you cannot do that. Khalas, you have to go as soon as possible. So there is a connection between the tawaf and salatul tawaf. They cannot be separated too long. Okay? So as soon as feasible, you go behind Maqam Ibrahim and 2 rak'at salatul tawaf. Needless to say, it's salat. Therefore, you have to be in the state of wudu. Yani there's needless to say. But it's okay to remind. You have to be in the state of wudu. Finish the salatul tawaf, 2 rak'at, just like salatul fajr. But the niyyah, what's the niyyah? I am praying 2 rak'at salatul tawaf for Umrah al-Tamattu', for Hajj al-Tamattu', for if it's the first time, Hajjatul Islam, wajib qurbatan ila Allah Ta'ala. Allahu Akbar. In the Hajj, brothers and sisters, generally speaking, when you say your niyyah, when you do niyyah, you don't have to say the niyyah. Yani now, if you go to do wudu just now, you don't have to say anwi an atawadda qurbatan ila Allah Ta'ala. The niyyah is your intention. In Hajj, it is mustahab to say the niyyah. Maybe one of the reasons is to avoid the chance of error. To avoid the chance of error, it's mustahab. So usually when I used to go to Hajj, I would stand with the mu'mineen and I would dictate the niyyah to them. I remind them, this is the niyyah. So usually we would remind them. The murshideen, ad-diniyin, remind. Nonetheless, salat al-tawaf for Umrah al-Tamattu'. That's number 3. Number 4, what do you need to do next? Sa'i. You go for the sa'i. Sa'i starts from Safa, ends in Marwa. Before, there used to be mountains. Nowadays, they've taken the mountain. They disappeared. The mountains disappeared nowadays. You don't see mountains anymore. But there used to be mountain of Safa, mountain of... You start in the mountain of Safa. Again, you make the niyyah. You stand at the mountain of Safa. أنوي, I make the niyyah. أن أسعى 7 أشواط بين الصفا والمروة لعمرة التمتع لحج التمتع. If it's your first time, حجة الإسلام واجب قربة إلى الله تعالى. You see the niyyah is just being repeated. The same niyyah, but you're just changing the action. Sa'i, tawaf, salat al-tawaf, so on and so forth. The rest is the same. Okay. Once you made the niyyah, you start. You walk between Safa and Marwa. There are areas designated by green lights where it's mustahab for the men to jog. So call it harwala. It's mustahab, not wajib. You walk from Safa to Marwa, that's 1 round. Marwa to Safa, that's 2, 3, 4. So every time you're going from Safa to Marwa, you're odd. You're coming back from Marwa to Safa, you're even. Okay. Until the 7th time you finish in Marwa. So that's now you finish your sa'i. Again, there are many mustahabbat in sa'i, but we don't have time. You do not have to be in the state of wudu for sa'i. Okay. So if your wudu breaks, you don't have to worry. Khalas, continue. You don't have to be in the state of wudu for sa'i. But you have to face the direction. يعني if, for example, again, من غير تشبيه, if this is Safa, that's Marwa, I have to keep walking like this. I cannot turn around and say, where is Flan, Muhammad, Ja'far, وينك? Where are you? No. You cannot turn. You can turn, but you have to stop. Stop, turn, but then turn back and then continue. You cannot walk and turn and walk. Your face has to face that direction. So if this is Marwa, I have to face like this. And so on and so forth. Now I finish the sa'i, that's the 4th. Number 5. After finishing the sa'i, you take scissors with you. This is a good recommendation. Keep a scissor with you, with those small scissors. And for the men, you cut a hair, Again, uqassir. You say uqassir. This is called taqsir. Taqsir. Taqsir يعني cutting a little bit of the hair. Uqassiru. The niyyah is uqassiru lil-ihlali. To get out of the state of ihram. This is how you get out of ihram. Taqsir. Uqassiru lil-ihlali. من إحرام عمرة التمتع لحج التمتع. If it's your first time, حجة الإسلام واجب قربة إلى الله تعالى. And you cut a little bit of hair. If you don't have hair, mashallah, you're one of those blessed men, the wise ones, then beard. Take a little bit of the beard. Cut a little bit of the beard. You don't have a beard, then nail. You can cut a nail. Okay. So these things. Women under the hijab, she goes under the hijab and she cuts a little bit. But it's makruh. Men should not see your hair. So keep it in your hand like this until there are some garbage bins around. Go and throw it in the garbage, for example. Okay. Although it's mustahab to bury it, definitely, but sometimes people don't have that convenience. So, but keep it so that men don't see your hair. Okay, so keep it. No, men too. But sometimes you don't have that convenience. Now, here is a mistake, happens a lot. I've seen it happen. When you're in the state of ihram, one of the things that you cannot do is cut your hair, cut your nails when you are muhrim. After sa'i, you want to exit the state of ihram. So now you can cut. But you cut for yourself. Once you cut for yourself, you're now out of the state of ihram. What happens, sometimes a person doesn't cut for himself. Because he takes out the scissors, someone says, can you cut my hair a little bit? He says, yeah, sure. You're not supposed to cut anyone's hair. You're muhrim. So you have to pay a penalty. Okay. He said, but I was being nice. Jazakallahu khaira. May Allah bless you. All right. Be nice after you cut your own hair. So you tell this person, wait, you cut your hair, you get out of the state of ihram, then you can cut anyone's hair that you wish. Okay. So this is now number what? Are you with me or 5? You did the state of ihram, you entered the state of ihram, tawaf, salatul tawaf, sa'i, exiting, taqsir to exit the state of ihram. These are 5 things. Now, you stay in Mecca, you're no longer muhrim. You're not muhrim, so you can wear your clothes, khalas, until the eve of Arafah or the day of Arafah, depending on the people. Many people, Shi'i schools of thought, they try to do it on the eve of Arafah, which is the eve of the 9th of Dhul Hijjah. In Mecca, again, you wear your ihram now. You wear your ihram. And you make your niyyah. You say, uhrimu. Now you say the niyyah. Uhrimu. Ihrama. This time is not umratu tamattu'. This is ihram hajju tamattu'. لحجة الإسلام لوجوبه قربة إلى الله تعالى. I now enter the state of ihram for Hajjatul Islam, for Hajjat Tamattu', of Hajjatul Islam, wajib qurbatan ilallah, if it's your first time. If it's not your first time, then mustahab, or whatever niyyah you have. Okay, so that's number 6. You have to enter the state of ihram. 6. 7. On the 9th of Dhul Hijjah, the day of Arafah, you have to be at the desert of Arafah before noon, yani by the time of noon. By the time of noon, you must be in Arafah. That's why many of the Shia, they go the eve of Arafah. They enter the state of ihram and they go. They stay in Arafah overnight. Then on the day of Arafah, at the time of Dhuhr, when they hear the adhan, once you hear the adhan, you make the niyyah. What's the niyyah? Anwi al-wuqufa. I make the niyyah to be in Arafah from adhan al-Dhuhr, from Dhuhr till Maghrib. لحج التمتع من حجة الإسلام واجب قربة إلى الله تعالى. If it's your first Hajj. And you stay in Arafah until Maghrib. Of course, there are many mustahabbat. One of the main mustahabbat, dua al-Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam on the day of Arafah. That's a great dua to be read. There is a mountain in Arafah called Jabal al-Rahmah. Our Sunni brothers, they go climb this mountain. For us, it is makruh to climb the mountain after sunrise. Before sunrise, you can climb it. Why it's called Jabal al-Rahmah? It is said, Allahu A'lam, يعني في الروايات, it is mentioned that this is where Allah forgave Adam. Shamalat al-Rahmah Adam. This is the place. He was on this mountain praying and Allah forgave him. So, for the Shi'i school of thought, before sunrise, it's okay to go. After sunrise, makruh. You can stand next to Jabal al-Rahmah. But nonetheless, this is now number what? 7. Are you with me? 7. So you stay in Arafat until Maghrib. In Arafat, some of the ulama suggest Imam al-Mahdi Ajjalallah Ta'ala Farajahu al-Sharif is there. We have a riwayah that every mu'min who attends Arafah, his sins are all forgiven. So some of the ulama, they say it is forgiven ببركة صاحب العصر والزمان عجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف. And that's why we have a riwayah, Al-Hajj Arafah. Hajj is Arafah. Yani you want to summarize the whole Hajj. Every aspect of Hajj you can do wikala. Yani if you're unable to do it yourself, except of course you're getting the state of ihram, once you get it. But tawaf, sa'i, sometimes you can find ways out of them. However, Arafah, you have to be there. You have to do it yourself. Al-Hajj Arafah. If you miss Arafah, you miss Hajj. Khalas. There's no way of reconciliating. Okay, so this is 7. Now Maghrib comes. It is mustahab to delay Salatul Maghrib wal Isha until you get to Muzdalifah. Number 8, you have to go to Muzdalifah. When you arrive in Muzdalifah, you stay in Muzdalifah. Some people stay the night. You really need to be there from Fajr till sunrise. That's when you need to be in Muzdalifah. From Fajr. Now this is Fajr of the day of Eid, the 10th of Dhul Hijjah. So the 10th of Dhul Hijjah, the minute Fajr comes, you make the niyyah that أنوي الوقوف في المزدلفة أو في المشعر الحرام أو المبيت في المشعر الحرام من الفجر إلى طلوع الشمس لحج التمتع من حجة الإسلام واجب قربة إلى الله تعالى. If it's your first Hajj, I make the niyyah to stay to stay in Muzdalifah from Fajr till sunrise. Once sunrise has come, once the sunrise is there, you can make your way now to Mina, and you do the stoning of the big shaitan. They call it Al-Jamra Al-Uqba, Al-Kubra, the big one. That will be action number 8 or 9? 9. 9, because Muzdalifah has 8. 9. Once you've done the stoning, now you have to slaughter a sheep. Back when we used to go as a group, these days I don't know what do they do, to be honest with you. I don't know how they slaughter the sheep these days. But before this whole system of nusuk came out, you would go to your group and you tell them, I finished my stoning. So they say, okay. They pick up the phone and they say, they have someone at the slaughterhouse. They say, okay, so-and-so has just finished, slaughter for him. So they make the niyyah on your behalf to slaughter. They make the niyyah and they slaughter a sheep. It might take half an hour, sometimes takes an hour. I have been to cases where it took 24 hours. The next day, so you cannot get out. You cannot do anything. Khalas, you have to wait until they slaughter your sheep. Once they slaughter the sheep, they tell you, khalas, the sheep has been slaughtered. That's number 10. They say, now you can, for the women, cut hair. For the men, shave. This is where nice, mashallah. Now the whole hair is gone. Khalas, all the people who've been to Hajj, they come back bald. This is the beauty of it. So that is number 11. Are you with me so far? Is it 10? 10? 10, 10. Okay, ahsantum. 10. 10. Good. You shave the head. What's the niyyah? أحلق. I shave my head. أحلق رأسي. للإحلال. To get out of the state من الإحرام. حج التمتع. حجة الإسلام. واجب قربة إلى الله تعالى. So once you cut your hair, many of the conditions are lifted of ihram, except women. You cannot have relationship with women, and you cannot have perfume. Those two conditions remain. So you cannot have any perfume still. You can wear your, for example, dishdasha clothes, no problem. Most of the conditions now are lifted. You can look at yourself in the mirror. You can do whatever it is. All these conditions are lifted except these two conditions. You cannot perfume and you cannot have any relationship with women. Now that you finish this, you need to stay in Mina on the 10th of Dhul Hijjah from Maghrib till midnight or from midnight till Fajr. One of those. One of the ulama, rahmatullah alayhi, al-Imam al-Khumaini, qaddasallahu nafsahu az-zakiyya, he said from Maghrib till Fajr. So there is that opinion. The whole night you have to stay. But most of the fuqaha these days, they say either from Maghrib till midnight or midnight till Fajr. Okay, either way. So you stay the whole night or part of the night at least. This is called Baytuta. This is on the 10th of Dhul Hijjah and on the 11th of Dhul Hijjah. What's the niyyah? Again, you go there before Maghrib. Just when Maghrib comes, you say, Anwil Mabit. I make the niyyah to stay in Mina from Maghrib till midnight for Hajj al-Tamattu' of Hajjatul Islam, wajib qurbatin ila Allah Ta'ala. And you can sleep. Khalas. You make the niyyah and sleep. Sleep, wake up at Fajr time, if you wish. Maybe wake up before Fajr to pray Salatul Layl. That's a good thing. Pray Salatul Layl and then you stay in Mina, if you wish. After sunrise, you have to stone now the 3 shayateen. Small, middle, and the large. You have to stone them. And you have to do the same thing on the 12th of Dhul Hijjah. The 12th of Dhul Hijjah, you got to also do the stoning of the 3 shayateen after sunrise. So I said on the 10th of Dhul Hijjah at night and on the 11th of Dhul Hijjah at night, you have to stay in Mina. Either from Maghrib till midnight or midnight till Fajr. After sunrise, on the 11th Dhul Hijjah and the 12th of Dhul Hijjah. On the 10th of Dhul Hijjah, you only stone the big shaitan. 11th and 12th, you have to do all 3 of them. After Fajr, after sunrise. After sunrise. On the 12th, when you finish stoning, when you finish stoning, you have to stay in Mina until Dhuhr time. You cannot leave before Dhuhr. You cannot leave. Once Dhuhr comes, the Adhan, then you can leave Mina. All right. So now you finished. What number are we at? Are you with me, guys? 12? 12. Now you have to do tawaf 7 times around the Kaaba, but this is tawaf of Hajj Tamattu'. For Hajjatul Islam, wajib qurbatan ila Allah, 7 times around the Kaaba. You have to do Salatul Tawaf. Salatul Tawaf. Then you have to do Sa'i 7 times between Safa and Marwa. But this time, all of it is for Hajjut Tamattu' of Hajjatul Islam. Tawaf, Salatul Tawaf, Sa'i between Safa and Marwa. Once you finish the Sa'i, the condition of perfume is lifted. Now you can put perfume. Yani if you really want it, you're really desperate, to keep the perfume in your pocket. The minute you finish Sa'i, take it, mashallah. No. Of course, women, you cannot do that. Too much perfume could be a problem. Okay. You finish the Sa'i, you're left with 2 things now. You need to do Tawafun Nisa. Tawafun Nisa, which is just a regular tawaf, but the niyyah is I'm doing Tawafun Nisa, أطوف 7 أشواط طواف النساء لحج التمتع حجة الإسلام. If it's your first Hajj, واجب قربة إلى الله تعالى, 7 times tawaf. It's called Tawafun Nisa. Then once you finish it, you do 2 rak'ah salat, Tawafun Nisa. Again, behind Maqam Ibrahim. And now you're finished. Khalas, inshallah, you get the stamp of approval and you're a Hajji. That's it. Or Hajjiyya. Finished. Inshallah. These are the a'mal of Hajj. This is Hajj al-Tamattu'. It sounds easy, right? Yeah, very easy. It is not difficult. Can you do mustahab tawaf? Yes, you can. You can do as many mustahab tawaf as you want. And you can make the niyyah. For example, I do 7 times tawaf around the Kaaba on behalf of every person who asks you to do tawaf on their dua. Everybody. You can do 1,000,000 people if you wish. All in one shot, one tawaf. Okay. So these are mustahabbat. Mustahab to kiss the black stone. Can you do a umrah? A umrah. Some people, after they finish their Hajj, they say, can I do a umrah? We say yes, but not on your own behalf. If you did Hajj, Umrah al-Tamattu', in 1 month, you cannot do 2 umrahs for your own self. In 1 month. So if it's the month of Dhul Hijjah, you cannot do 2 umrahs in 1 month of Dhul Hijjah. You already did Umrah al-Tamattu'. So now you can go do it on behalf of somebody else. Your parents, Sheikh Usama Al-Atar, whomever it is you wish to do it. No problem. Include many people, anyone. Including Sheikh Usama Al-Atar. You can do Umrah. What do you do in the Umrah? You take it, you wear your ihram, wear it. Take a taxi, tell him, take me to Masjid al-Tan'im. Masjid al-Tan'im. They also call it Masjid Aisha. That's what they also call it. Masjid al-Tan'im. You go there, again, just take off the ihram, like this. Let's say this is my ihram, I'm wearing it. Just take it off and then go back. And they say, Uhrimu. Ihram Umrah al-Mufrada. This is Umrah al-Mufrada. On behalf, niyabatan an Ummi, Abi, Khali, Ammi, Ibn Khali, Madimino, Sheikh Usama Al-Atar, and so on. So all those people. You can put 1,000,000 people if you wish. Put 1,000,000 people. Okay. And now you enter the state of Ihram. What you need to do in the Ihram, then once you go do tawaf around the Kaaba 7 times. The niyyah is Umrah al-Mufrada on behalf of all those people I mentioned. Khalas. 7 times. Then Salatul Tawaf. So Ihram, Tawaf, Salatul Tawaf, Sa'i, Taqsir, to get out of the state of Ihram, Tawafun Nisa, Salatul Tawafun Nisa. 7 rituals in the Umrah. And you're done. Khalas. This counts as a Umrah. Usually it also takes about 3 hours, 4 hours, depending how busy it is to do a Umrah. You have the energy, say, Wallah, this is easy. I like it. Let me go do another Umrah. Take the taxi, go back now. But you have to do it on behalf of somebody Again, not on yourself. Okay. Because it's mustahab, Umrah, you can do it on behalf of somebody else. You can on behalf of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi, on behalf of the Imams alayhimus salam. It's good. This is good. Even tawaf, mustahab to do tawaf عن النبي صلى الله عليه وآله أمير المؤمنين عليه السلام فاطمة سلام الله عليها. You can do 14 different tawafs, but each tawaf 7 times with salatul tawaf. Every time. Every tawaf comes as a package. Tawaf and salatul tawaf. But say you say, I don't have the energy to do 14 tawafs. I don't have the time. Combine. Say Nabi and Imam Ali, 1 tawaf, for example. Fatima and, for example, Imam Al-Hasan alayhi salam, 1 tawaf, for example. Such that you do 7 tawafs, if you can. Less, no problem. So either all these are mustahabbat. So this inshallah gives you a good synopsis of Hajj. Hajj al-Tamattu' wa Umrah al-Tamattu'. I'll leave you with this last thing. You are in very holy places when you go to Hajj. In Masjid al-Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi, try to read Dua Abu Hamza al-Thumali one of the nights. Try to read Ziyara al-Jami' al-Kabira one of the times you visit, at least once. Try to read Ziyarat Aminullah at least once. Ziyarat Aminullah. Try to read Dua Makarim al-Akhlaq at least once. Dua Makarim al-Akhlaq at least once. Try to pray Salatul Layl every night throughout your whole journey. Every night pray Salatul Layl. When you go to Mecca, the same thing, except Ziyarat Aminullah and Ziyarat al-Jami' al-Kabira. Those out, but try to read Dua Abu Hamza al-Thumali. Try to read Dua al-Jawshan al-Kabir. Try to read Dua Makarim al-Akhlaq. Try to pray Salatul Layl. Try to do these things. It is mustahab in Mecca to finish the whole Quran if you are able to. The minute you arrive in Mecca, start reading the Quran every day, for example, 2 juzu, 3 juzu, 4 juzu, and then you finish it, if you can. Mustahabbat. Mustahab. Now, you listen to this mustahab. I think people will like it. Everyone likes to get rich. On the mountain of Safa, it's mustahab to recite Surah Al-Baqarah. Surah Al-Baqarah with the niyyah of getting wealthy. Inshallah, Allah will increase your wealth. And it's mustahab to read Surah Ali Imran with the niyyah of returning back to Hajj. Inshallah, you'll get the tawfiq to come back to Hajj again, inshallah. This is Surah Ali Imran on the mountain of Safa. So these are some of the mustahabbat also to do while you're on this journey. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the tawfiq to go to Hajj. I tell the mu'mineen, when you pray, always pray to Allah to give you tawfiq to go to Hajj. And instead of just praying for money or praying for health, pray for Hajj. Why? Because Hajj is man istata'a ilayhi sabila. Istata'a. It means you have money and you have health. So you get Hajj. This is smart dua. See, like when you're smart, you pray in a smart way. Because Allah says, do business with me. هل أدلكم على تجارة? Shall I show you a tijara business? You do business with Allah. Ya Rab, give me Hajj every year. Yani this means I'm going to be wealthy and I'm going to be healthy and I get a Hajj bonus. Nur ala nur. This is great. So pray for this, inshallah. This is how you do business with Allah. Be smart because He's generous. So ask. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tawfiq. Allahumma arzuqna hajja baytika al-haram fi amina hadha wa fi kulli aam. واغفر لنا تلك الذنوب العظام فإنه لا يغفرها غيرك يا رحمن يا علام.